AITAH for telling coworker her kid is why I wouldn't date her? Story 1. Disclaimer: this isn't one of those anti-dating single moms posts. I'm a single dad and have dated other single parents in the past. I have a coworker, let's call Pam, who I've worked with a couple years now, and she's a lovely woman. She's very pretty, good at her job, and I value her as both a coworker and a friend. She got divorced about a year ago and has started getting back into dating in the last few months. Nothing serious though. I'm widowed and have a 7-year-old. I'm definitely not opposed to dating another single parent as I have before. Problem is, her kid is honestly unbearable to me. It's hard to say how much is his fault, as he does have odd and I suspect some other things as well. He's 13 years old but regularly throws tantrums you'd expect of a much younger child. He's been suspended from school multiple times, and she's had to have him come into work with her to keep an eye on him, and he always gets into trouble here as well. As far as non-predators go, he's the worst kid I've ever been around. About a month ago, we were at a work function lately, and dating came up and she asked me if I was seeing anybody. I told her no, and she brought up us going out as we get along so well. I gave her the whole "we work together, and I don't shit where I eat" thing, and she let it go but mentioned how a lot of our coworkers met at work, and it worked out for them. For what it's worth, we are in different departments or work on different floors. So while I see her at work a decent amount, it's not really a working together and seeing each other everyday thing. The last week the weather has been beautiful, and yesterday management let us all off an hour early to enjoy the weather, and a lot of us went to the place next door. She brought us up again and again. I gave her the same thing. She then pushed and said she doesn't believe me. She asked if I don't like to date other parents, and I told her no, it's not that. She kept pushing, and I was honest that her kid is just too much. Not that I don't think I could handle a tough kid, but I just have no desire to put up with that for a kid who's not mine. From what little I know about Odd, it doesn't seem like a phase, and I'm not signing me and my kid up to deal with that long term. Let's just say she did not take it well and snapped at me about talking about her kid and left shortly after. Today I am working from home but feeling a little guilty about it all. Was I an who should apologize or just let it go? Our advice: it sounds like you were in a tough spot and handled it as delicately as you could, given the circumstances. It's understandable that you wouldn't want to enter into a relationship with someone whose child's behavior is challenging, especially considering your own responsibilities as a single parent. However, honesty doesn't always come without consequences, and it seems Pam was hurt by your candidness. While it might be tempting to apologize just to smooth things over, it's important to stand by your feelings and boundaries. It's okay to acknowledge that the conversation may have been uncomfortable, but ultimately you were honest about your concerns and reasons for not pursuing a relationship. If you feel it's appropriate, you could express regret that your words upset her, but reaffirm that you were speaking from a place of honesty and concern for both of your well-being. Moving forward, it might be helpful to maintain a professional distance with Pam and focus on your work relationship. If she brings up the topic again, it might be best to gently redirect the conversation or politely decline to discuss it further. Ultimately, you have to prioritize your own emotional and familial needs, even if it means causing temporary discomfort. First comment: I feel like men, especially, are regularly pressured these days to explain if they reject a woman. We've been told repeatedly that no means no and no one owes you a date, but that message hasn't gone in the other direction. So, when women get rejected, they often want to know why. So do men, TBH, but like I was saying, we've been told not to pressure her for a reason. And people often take the reason for rejection personally. Note, I didn't say women often take the reason personally. I said people often take it personally, because rejection stings. Whether it's for height, weight, non-weight related looks, fitness or lack, fashion dress sense, tattoos or lack, facial hair or lack, or for having kids, or for your kids not kids in general. But like I was saying, while I feel like there's been a lot of messaging toward men to accept rejection, there hasn't been that same messaging toward women. So when they get rejected, they push for an explanation reason, and react in all the same toxic ways that are the very reason we have aimed all that messaging at men. Unfortunately, because people are also often shitty, and you never know how they will react, he needs to report this to HR immediately, not because she will use it as grounds for some kind of complaint, but because she could, and he needs to get out ahead of it. Story 2. AITAH for being pissed off that my husband once again made plans for us to spend Mother's Day with his mom. I've been with my husband for 7 years. For the first 3 years of our relationship, his mother lived in Canada, so we didn't see her often. After that, she moved back to our home state, NJ. Her birthday is 2 weeks before Mother's Day, and we always end up bringing her out for her birthday, and my husband, despite us not being able to afford it, treats her to a meal. And then on Mother's Day, same thing. Lets her pick the restaurant and we go treat her to a meal. For the past 2 years, I have told my husband that I'm honestly fed up with doing this. I told him that we should be considering her birthday dinner to be a part of her Mother's Day gift, since it's so close to the same date, and that, for once, I would like him to give me a special Mother's Day. Last year, I was so upset about it because all he got for me on Mother's Day was $12 storage bins for our kitchen, and then we shipped right off to go treat his mom to an $120 meal. He said this year he would make sure my Mother's Day was special. Well, he was online searching for a gift for his mother for Mother's Day, so I assumed that was going to be the only thing he did for her this year. He typically doesn't buy her gifts and just brings her out to eat. The necklace he ended up getting her was $130-ish because he had it engraved. But this morning she calls him and he said, well, start planning where you want to go out to eat on Mother's Day so I can plan ahead, and I just immediately felt gutted. I loaded up the kids and went to the playground. He called me 20 minutes later and asked where I had went, so I told him I went to the playground. He asked which one and said he would come down, and I told him I wanted space. When he asked why, I told him it was because once again he's doing shit for his mom on Mother's Day, on top of already getting her an expensive gift. So I know for a fact I'm going to be left in the dust per usual, and I was extremely hurt that he told me it wouldn't happen this year, and he went against that. He tried arguing that it's for both of us, but she literally gets choice of the restaurant every single time, and I'm basically ignored the entire time I'm there and left to deal with the kids while he's chatting it up with his mother. I could understand if she wasn't around often and this was their chance to reconnect, but she's here nearly every other day. He says I'm being ridiculous and said, how do you know I didn't plan something for you too? So I asked him if he had, and he said, well, no, but I can. I told him to forget about it, and in a petty rage, stated that I will just get over it and accept being an afterthought, and hung up. I then called up my girlfriends and we made a plan to all go out on Mother's Day. I haven't been out in over a year. Well, I just got home and my husband said he had something in mind that I might enjoy, and I told him not to bother, as he and his mom will be in charge of the kids for the day, and that I would be treating myself to a girl's day. He is now saying I'm wrong because I didn't give him a chance. AITAH? Our advice. It sounds like you're feeling neglected and unappreciated, and those are very valid feelings. It's important in a relationship for both partners to feel valued and respected, especially on special occasions like Mother's Day. Your husband's pattern of prioritizing his mother's celebrations over yours, despite your expressed feelings, is understandably frustrating. It's concerning that he promised to make your Mother's Day special this year, but then proceeded to plan another event centered around his mother. Communication is key in situations like this. It's good that you've expressed your feelings to your husband, but it seems like he may not fully understand the extent of your hurt. It might be helpful to have a calm and open conversation with him, reiterating how his actions make you feel and why you find it hurtful. Also, consider discussing alternative ways to celebrate Mother's Day that could be meaningful for both of you. Perhaps you could plan something together as a family or explore ways to make the day special just for you. In the meantime, it's completely understandable that you've made plans with your friends for Mother's Day. Taking care of yourself and prioritizing your own happiness is important. It's not wrong to seek support and companionship from your friends when you feel let down by your partner. Ultimately, you're not wrong for feeling the way you do, and it's important for your husband to acknowledge and validate your feelings. It's a two-way street, and both partners need to consider each other's feelings and needs in a relationship. First comment, NTA. You voiced your concerns several times, and he continues to favor the celebration of his own mother instead of the mother of his children. He should 100% be prioritizing you. Good for you for making spa day plans with your girlfriend on your own. Stick with them. You proactively made plans because he did not make any with you. You even asked him if he made plans and he said, well, no, so he has no right to say you didn't give him a chance. He can spend time with his mom and his mom can see her son and grandchildren on Mother's Day. He can and should still make it up to you by doing something special the day before or buying you a special gift. Either way, you won't be waiting around on Mother's Day since you now have plans. Enjoy yourself. Second comment. Desto NTA and agree with this so much. Op declined to go this year. You go with for her B-Day and make a point that since he chooses not to prioritize you on Mother's Day, you and your kiddos are going to do it yourselves. It makes a statement, gives you the day off from Mill, and isn't rude or unreasonable at all. I'm a mom, Mill, and when my son and Deal were pregnant with their first and wanted to plan something with me on Mother's Day, I said, why don't you think about what tradition you want to start together for Deal first and plan that? Then we can get together later in the day or even the next weekend. This is the first you get to celebrate and last before baby is here, so make it fun and create a tradition. I get her a gift each year because she's an amazing mom and wife, so I want her to feel celebrated too.